Okay, it's Colby here this time. Where we left off at the end of our first year was that the River Murray, that flows in close proximity to our property, was in flood, and the waters were getting closer and closer to the back of our property. And we just had a shed erected, and I was concerned about the water undermining the foundation of the shed. So the first thing that we did was to build a retaining wall around the shed on the side that the water would most likely approach it. Now, it needed to rise 1.9 metres from the corner of our property to even get to the shed, and we were pretty confident it wasn't going to do that. Rebecca always says when looking at off-grid properties that the first thing that should be built is the loo. It wasn't first, but it was the first thing we built after we began staying overnight down there more regularly. We'll miss the bird life, and we thought that this would be a once in a lifetime flood and we wouldn't see the water up to the back of our property again. Little did we know that there were further developments to occur later in the year. The bird life was spectacular. The floodwaters ended up getting to our bottom corner fence. So that's our bottom quarter post, and the back fence is basically where I'm standing. And that's as far as it got. But it wasn't always beautiful. We experienced high winds, and the poor pelicans are really battling away in this clip. There's our dog Jasper in the foreground here. You can see that we still had water for a while. We put a solid door on our outhouse and shower because the curtain wasn't working in the wind. And gradually the floodwaters receded, and in fact the farmer who owns the land had a pump going over on the levee almost opposite the back of our property. So you can see that the water was up as high as the 3 wires high, at least at the back of the property. Summer sunsets are beautiful over water. So it just gradually receded, as I said. We had solar installed. This is a 10 kilowatt battery. This is for our house build. Panels on the roof of the shed. Rebecca and I were very pleased with our big shed and didn't want it to be full of junk. So we began to build a workshop adjacent to the back of the ColourBond shed. Same sort of style as other builds that you've seen me do in our prequel video. Fortunately, we had the tank delivered and we could situate it before the walls went up on the workshop. Again, you can see the water receding significantly. So again, as you observed in our prequel video, we got used to building in this particular style, stick frame. Difference with this one is I had a veranda that I wanted to install, and we did a sloping skillen type roof, which was intended to, if not totally match, but be similar to the eventual roof style of our house build. All in permapine. So the dimensions are roughly, of the roof, roughly 5 metres by 3 metres, 15 square metres. So a friend came down for the long weekend in June and helped me install the roof. Then we installed windows and doors and began closing in the walls. Some would say it looked more like a little cottage as it was being built, or a tiny house than a workshop. See how green it is. This year has been nowhere near, this year being 2024, nowhere near as green as it was last year. This second year on the property was 2023. Again, you can see the waters further receding. We then planted out some garden beds for vegetable garden at the rear of the workshop. It was nice having space all around us, but as you'll see in a little while, and could perhaps pick up in previous clips of the water, it is really windy down where we are at times, often for part of most days, and that does make building a bit of a challenge. So moving on to our next project, I always envisaged having an outdoor kitchen and entertaining area at the bottom of our property, where we had have unobstructed views through to the river lagoon and of course all the farmland behind us. So sloping land down there, so we retained the area and backfilled with soil from the dirt pile, which was a byproduct of the building process, which you can see happening in front of the shed there, or beginning. We enjoyed sitting out eating in the evening under the veranda of our workshop. And then, much to our surprise, later in the year, the water came back. So we had thought we'd not see it again in our lifetime at the back of our property. And here it was again. And the culprit was that the river levee bank broke. So we had water there for months again, and all the bird life in close proximity that comes with it. Beautiful sunsets as well. I still enjoyed cooking on the open fire. Particularly like the ambience of the old oil lanterns. So, and now we started to build. It's fair to say, back now, this was probably it was undoubtedly our most ambitious build yet, and most difficult. The wind being the biggest factor. So it was very difficult trying to erect posts and keep them plumb in the first instance. And then when we moved to the roof structure, we were on ladders. Here's an example of the wind. So as I was saying, we were working on ladders, high up on ladders, often with our feet placed on the very top rungs of the ladders, and in high wind at times as well. We did try to avoid getting up there and building in the high winds. Now that shot is an interesting one. That's the repair that was done on the levee. So we had to say, unfortunately, goodbye to the water again. So it did take some weeks to pump out. So the roof structure went up without much mishap, or without any mishap, though it was challenging. And thank goodness it was not a windy day or windy weekend when we installed the ColourBond roofing. This was a bit of a challenge for a different reason. I wasn't confident it would carry my weight up there, although probably on reflection it would have done. So I did the roof cap, placed the roof cap up there, and then had to slide the ColourBond sheets under it and then fix them, and they got tighter and tighter, so it got harder and harder as we went. Now Rebecca really wanted us to have kind of like guardrails because it is about 2 feet high in the bottom corner there, and we do have elderly parents. So we built this balustrade type structure around it's a pergola and entertaining area. And then we fancied the idea of having some ColourBond sheeting around it. The concrete at one end, and that was for the barbecue, and a wood heater that we later installed. Fairy lighting. It was a really nice spot to sit in early summer and enjoy our breakfasts. You can see I also had this idea to clad on the inside with pallet wood, not the whole way round. And we decided that the most affordable option to keep us out of the dirt and have a floor was to install synthetic grass. We installed some blinds, but as you can see, the wind just blew them in, so we've had to actually put them all the way down in that corner. But that's okay because most of our wind comes out of the southwest, and so we've got a nice little sheltered haven just here. Thank you for watching this summary of our second full year 2023 on our off-grid property. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.